Hey everybody, and welcome to my new endeavor. Still keep my other channel for Bible type stuff and in daily encouragements, but on this channel here, I want to try something new and just talk a little bit about sports. Just because I enjoy sports so much and I want to get a little bit of info out there. I don't plan on this being a huge thing, but who knows? Maybe it'll catch on, maybe it won't. If you have any kind of interest in major sports, that's all we're going to do. And today we're going to start off really slow. We're in the midst of the first weekend of the NFL playoffs. We had the first couple games today. If you were unaware, you haven't watched, I'm not going to have highlights. I'm not going to do stuff like that. I'm just going to mention a couple things because, to be completely transparent, I've seen a little bit of one game, didn't watch any of the other, but just some stuff I did hear or see while watching updates about the games each of these days. Hopefully we'll have some fun with this. So in the first football game of the day, the Houston Texans beat the Cleveland Browns 45-14. Joe Flacco, quarterbacking for the Browns, had two pick sixes that went the other way that kind of changed the way this game was going. It looked to be kind of close, but those two picks just changed everything. CJ Stroud, the rookie quarterback for the Texans, had a really good game. Threw for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was just nice when you catch the updates and everything. It was just pretty incredible to see how good this rookie quarterback did. Now being the 4 seed, the 5 seed being Cleveland, the 6 seed being Miami, since they both got knocked out. If Pittsburgh wins on Monday, where their game got moved to, then Pittsburgh will end up playing the 1 seed, which is Baltimore. If Pittsburgh loses their game to the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills, then the prize for the Texans will be they get the opportunity to play the Baltimore Ravens, which would be an interesting game. Obviously, Baltimore playing with the necessity of trying to prove that they weren't a fluke 1 seed, and Lamar trying to do his best to succeed. So we'll see how that goes. But again, Cleveland, good season, but the fact that they made it there, being on their 5th quarterback for the season, it's kind of impressive that they made it to the playoffs. But I think injuries finally caught up to them, and Houston, being the better team, won that game 45-14. In the nightcap, really wasn't close. Looks a little bit closer than the previous game, but Kansas City Chiefs, in that cold weather game, won 26-7 against the Miami Dolphins. The only thing I will say about this game was, I know there was a lot of chatter online about some of the soft penalties that were called, the roughing the passer call, specifically towards the 3rd quarter of the game. There was a roughing the passer called as the Chiefs were holding a long drive, and there was a holding call that was missed. There were a couple other penalties, but ultimately in the end, you can't let what was always told to me as a high schooler when I played sports was, you don't leave the game in the referee's hands. You've got to do something, take advantage of it. Neither quarterback had a great game. Tua only completed 51% of his passes for the Dolphins. Pat Mahomes, 56%. He did have 262 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, which is always key. Tua did throw an interception along with a touchdown to go with his 199 yards. Tyreek Hill, the MVP type receiver for the Dolphins, only had 5 catches for 62 yards. But here's some good stats for the Chiefs. Their running back Pacheco did rush for 89 yards, and their receiver Rashid Rice, 130 yards and a touchdown on 8 catches. So again, the Kansas City Chiefs win at home 26-7. Now, their prize will be probably not the one. They wouldn't play the 1 seed, depending on who wins. If Pittsburgh wins their game as the 7 seed, then Kansas City's reward will be to play Houston. So, there's still a few things left to see. We'll find out what happens For the rest of the games this weekend, in case you're wondering, on Sunday, Green Bay will go play at the Cowboys. It'll be at 3:30 p.m. I believe that to be Central Time, or it might be Eastern Time, but either way. Uh, the temperatures and all that stuff don't matter because it's inside the Jerry Dome or AT&T Stadium there in Arlington. Uh, so the 7-seeded Packers, who snuck into the playoffs at 9-8, will be playing the Cowboys at 12-5. So we'll see how that goes. The next game tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. will be the Los Angeles Rams, the 6th seed in the NFC, playing at the number 3 Detroit Lions. Now, just so you know, it's expected to be 5 degrees, but again, they play indoors at Ford Field, so you don't have to worry about that. But that'll be another interesting game. It's one of the rare games where the lower seed, the 10-7 Rams, are actually favored to win that game. But you know, we'll see what happens. This is why they play the game. I mean, it's a great story when you think about it. The quarterback that took the Rams to the Super Bowl and won, Matthew Stafford, to go up against the quarterback that took the Rams to the Super Bowl and lost before that, Jared Goff. So we'll see how that one goes. That'll be an interesting game. And then on Monday, we're actually going to have 2 games on Martin Luther King Day. It was only supposed to be 1, but they moved the Buffalo Bill game because it was so cold, or supposed to be so cold. So the 10-7 Steelers are going to visit the 11-6 Buffalo Bills. It's amazing to think this is a 1-game difference between the records, but a lot of people have more they have confidence in the ability of the Bills. They just don't have confidence necessarily in the consistency of the Bills. Although, to be fair, they've won, I believe it was 6 in a row to get to this point. Now here's where the conditions matter. It is supposed to be just under 20 degrees at game time up there in Orchard Park in Buffalo. So we'll see how that goes. Fortunately, Pittsburgh is also a cold weather team. Not that that necessarily makes it easier, but it would be intriguing to see. So again, that's at 3:30 Monday. And then the nightcap on Monday night to finish off the Super Wild Card weekend. The 5-seed Philadelphia Eagles at 11-6 going up against the 9-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa, since Tampa did win their division. Now, this is another game where you have the talent and ability versus the actual performance. If you ask people based on talent and ability who's going to win this game, they would say the Eagles. The problem is the Eagles have been playing really horrible all season. Well, not all season, but the last half of the season, and they're not expected to do so hot. But we'll find out. I know I've got family that root for other NFC East teams, and they are looking forward to this game to kind of laugh at it and chuckle. But we're looking forward to seeing how well it goes. So again, that is Monday night, 7:15, Eagles and the Buccaneers. Now on the NBA hardwood, because we spent so much time on the NFL playoffs, we'll hit these real quick. Now, if you know me at all, I am as you see my logo on my other channel, I'm a Celtic fan. I've grown up in New England. I was born in New York City, so I'll root for them as well. And I love seeing some teams when they struggle. So the Lakers have been struggling this season after they won the in-season tournament. They lost again today to the Utah Jazz. Final score 132-125. That brought me some joy. New Orleans Pelicans. I kind of root for them. They're close by where I live, and my son and I get to kind of go watch them once a year. Well, they went out and beat the Dallas Mavericks 118-108. For those keeping track of Victor Wembanyama, the rookie first round #1 draft pick for the Spurs, he and his Spurs lost today at home to the Chicago Bulls 122-116. The Milwaukee Bucks, coming off of their highlight beatdown of the Celtics here a couple days ago, win again at home against the Golden State Warriors 129-118. And speaking of my beloved Celtics, they went out at home and got to play their old coach, Ime Udoka, and were able to win at home against the Rockets, score 145-113. Again, I know these are things that you get to see, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things there that was just really neat to see. I did notice that there was some kind of cheap ejection called on Jason Tatum. I'll have to look some more and maybe I'll get to find out some more, but just based on what little bit I saw, he was upset about a foul that wasn't called on him against him based on who they were playing, and they called the first technical and he just kept going. While they were showing the replay, they were showing just him getting hit really hard, and the next thing you know they come back and he's walking out because he got kicked out. So but fortunately the Celtics got a win. That leaves them undefeated at home. A wonderful record if you think about the history of the Celtics and finding out that they have a season where they are undefeated at home and it's not matched anything that's happened before in history. It's pretty cool. Last quick hitter, hockey. If you're a hockey fan, I don't want to jip you all. Just two scores I'm going to point out, although there's quite a few games that went on. One, the Arizona Coyotes 6-0 win at the Minnesota Wild. Any kind of big scores like that, you kind of chuckle at. And of course, I told you who I root for. My Boston Bruins. Coming off of what was a horrible season last year, you may say, why was it horrible? You had the best record in the league. Yeah, we had the best record in the league, and then we lost in the first round, so that was horrible. But we came out and I always find when you get revenge games, they're kind of nice. They went out and beat the Blues, St. Louis Blues in St. Louis, 4-3 in overtime. What made it neat was if you're a Blues fan, you remember winning the Stanley Cup a few years ago. You beat the Bruins to win that Stanley Cup, and so I always remember that. The other thing was we did it in overtime. The Bruins have struggled in overtime. This marks only their third win in overtime in 13 games. So being 3-10 in overtime is not a positive thing. But their overall record, 25-8-9. Can't laugh at that. But again, the Bruins won 4-3 in overtime. Anyway, that is just your quick update. What we'll try to do is, as time goes on, maybe we'll do some more videos of different types where we talk specific games, maybe talk about some of the plays, maybe talk about players. I mean, I don't know. This is going to be something new, just trying it out, trying to see what we can do. But anyway, thank you for joining. Have a wonderful night.